Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little review of the Buffalo Pittsburgh game, which goes to the Bills 31-17. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Get the brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them that Krug sent you. And also, this video is brought to you by Mojo Fantasy. Check that link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they will match you up to your first $100. Well, pretty good game on this Monday, a game that was supposed to be played on Saturday, but the snow came in Buffalo, and so they put it off to today. So we had Steelers Bills this afternoon on Martin Luther King Day, and Josh Allen got the scoring going in the first quarter, a 9-yard pass to the tight end Dawson Knox, and Buffalo was on top 7-0. And then George Pickens, the Steelers receiver, fumbled deep in the Bills' territory on the next series. Josh Allen on the very next play after the fumble, hit Dalton Kincaid for a 29-yard pitch and catch, and immediately Pittsburgh was in a 14-0 hole. Now, the Steelers would circle the wagons. Minkah Fitzpatrick played a very good game. He was hurt, and he played anyway. He had a solo tackle on third down against the running back James Cook to force a punt on the Bills' next possession. And then Mason Rudolph went to Pat Freiermuth late first quarter. Freiermuth fumbled, and it was out of bounds. It was ruled that the ball went out of bounds. Buffalo recovered the fumble though on the inbounds. Buffalo then challenged the call, but the call stood. So Pittsburgh retained possession of the ball, and Buffalo lost their challenges for the rest of the day there in the first quarter, and it wound up being a 33-yard gain by the Steelers to make it 14-0 Steelers or 14-0 Bills at the end of the first quarter. So that's how the first quarter ended. Then the Steelers would drive down the field in a huge play. Kaiir Elam jumped in front of a Mason Rudolph pass that was headed towards Deontay Johnson in the end zone, and the 22-year-old former Gator corner comes away with the interception. So not only do the Steelers not score, the Bills had it coming out the other way because they got the touchback. So on the next drive, on 3rd and 8, Josh Allen ran 52 yards for a touchdown to cap an 8-play, 80-yard drive, and Buffalo was up 21-0, and it looked like it was going to be an absolute blowout. But Eric Rowe or Josh Allen made a 33-yard pass to Dante Hardy later in that second quarter. Eric Rowe had an interception that he dropped on 3rd and 7. The Steelers safety made the drop. And then Tyler Bass came on to kick a 49-yard field goal at the end of the first half, and it was blocked by the Steelers. So right then and there, you're thinking, okay, maybe the Steelers have some juice here. And Buffalo had their punter on the blocked field goal chasing down the Steelers, and he pulled his hamstring. So he did continue to stay in the game and punt. But then Mason Rudolph, inside of the 2-minute warning, drove the Steelers down the field, and he found Deontay Johnson on a slant, or you call it a shallow cross, if you will. And so they went into the locker room down 21-7. Buffalo was up 21-7. The Steelers were down 14. Steelers got a field goal from Chris Boswell to make it an 11-point game in the third quarter, 21-10. Buffalo on a key 3rd and 9 in that third quarter from the Steeler 41. Josh Allen found Stephon Diggs for a first down. He ran around, made some extra time, and then found Diggs. Later in that third quarter, Joey Porter Jr. was hit hard by the Bills' offensive lineman McGovern and was shook up and had to be taken back to the locker room with a concussion. Tyler Bass, with 1:45 left in the third quarter, hit a 45-yard field goal to make it 24-10 Buffalo. And this was Buffalo absolutely with a time-consuming drive. Buffalo late third quarter put together a 14-play, 48-yard drive that lasted 7 minutes and 18 seconds and was wrapped up on that Tyler Bass 45-yard field goal. So that's where it stood, 24-10. The Steelers would try to make a comeback in the fourth quarter. Rudolph found Pickens on 3rd and 11 for 19 yards to keep the drive alive. And then Mason Rudolph found Calvin Austin for a touchdown pass in the end zone to make it 24-17 to cap a 12-play, 75-yard drive, which lasted about 6 minutes. And so that looked like about as close as the Steelers would get. Josh Allen later in the fourth quarter had a scramble and slid, and he took a hit from Miles Jack, and the Steelers linebacker was penalized 15 yards for personal foul penalty against the Buffalo quarterback. And then Josh Allen found Khalil Shakir in the red zone, and Shakir looked like he was down. A lot of people thought the knee was down. Instead, he broke away. The former Boise State wide receiver has been an absolute revelation in the last part of the year. He broke away and got into the end zone to make it 31-17. There were some injuries in the second half too. Teron Jackson of the Bills, the cornerback, had a concussion, but obviously he was deemed okay because he came back in the game. Allen Robinson and Joey Porter Jr. both went out in the second half with concussions for the Steelers, and I don't believe either returned. And then the Steelers would drive the ball down in the fourth quarter. It was 4th and 3 from the 32. Jacobs went to Pickens, and it looked like there was pass interference against the Bills, but it was a no call. Buffalo then got the ball back with about a little bit under 5 minutes to play, and Tyler Bass tried to put the game well out of reach to make it 34-17 with a 27-yard field goal, but he shanked it left. So the Steelers still had time left, and they drove the ball down the field, but eventually they ran out of time, and that's the way it ended. 31-17. Buffalo wins the game. They are now 6-0 since the beginning of December. Buffalo ran for 179 yards in this game, 5.3 yards a carry. Buffalo was +2 on the turnovers. Josh Allen had another strong day, 21 of 30, 203 yards and 3 touchdowns. Huge day for Josh Allen. Dalton Kincaid, 3 catches for 59 yards and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs caught 7 balls for 52 yards. Dawson Knox got in the end zone for 6. Khalil Shakir got in the end zone for 6. And the Bills get a great day from Allen, both as a runner and as a thrower. As I said, 21 of 30 for 203 and 3 touchdowns for Josh Allen as a thrower. But then he also ran for almost 10 yards a carry. 8 carries for 74 yards, including the 52-yard touchdown. So Buffalo gets the win, and they were impressive in this thing. A.J. Klein played a great game on defense. He had 11 tackles. Elam had an interception. Tyler Bass made 1 field goal, but he also missed 2 others. Minkah Fitzpatrick played hurt for the Steelers, and he still played well. 10 tackles, but, man, they were without T.J. Watt on the road, and the better team got the win. I mean, it's just as simple as that. Pittsburgh, only had 2 sacks on the day without T.J. Watt. They only had 3 hits all day on Josh Allen. And so now the AFC Final Four is set. It will be the Buffalo Bills taking on the Kansas City Chiefs next weekend in Buffalo for the right to go to the AFC title game. And the number 1 seed, the Baltimore Ravens, will get the lowest remaining seed, though, and that's the Houston Texans, though the Texans may have looked as good as anybody this weekend. So it'll be the Texans at Baltimore next week, Kansas City at Buffalo next week. The winners play in the AFC title game, and it will either be in Baltimore against the Buffalo Kansas City winner, or it's going to be in Buffalo against Houston, or it's going to be in Kansas City against Houston. So that's the way it shakes out in the AFC. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. We're also brought to you by Mojo Fantasy. Check that link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they will match you up to your first $100. And thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.